Episode number 2, the Client Alchemy Show, and today's topic we are talking about sales is leadership. Sales is leadership, and my name is Dov Gordon. You can find us at dovgordon.net, and on Facebook you can find us at facebook.com/consistent flow of clients. So we're going to talk about sales as leadership. This is not how most people think about it, but if you're a consultant, if you're a coach, if you're an expert, sales is leadership. And today on the Client Alchemy Show, episode number 2, we're going to unpack that for you, help you understand what it means in a way that you probably haven't heard about it before, I'm guessing. I see so many people, there are too many of us, and this was me for many years, so I've kind of fought my way through this, but there are too many people struggle because we have some kind of preconceived idea about sales. We have a deeply flawed idea about what sales actually is and what it is to sell your expertise. Even I've seen even people who are rather successful at sales, let's say in the corporate world, or selling for somebody else, they struggle when it comes to selling for themselves, selling their own expertise. As soon as you deeply get it, as soon as you deeply understand that sales is leadership, it becomes so much easier to successfully sell your consulting, your coaching, and your expertise. Right? Think about this. Would you want to follow a leader who is not going where you want to go? I have to assume that obviously you wouldn't, right? You don't want to follow a leader who's not going where you don't want to go. Everybody understands that. But you want to follow somebody who understands where you are and where you want to go. Somebody who understands the problem that you have and don't want and the result you want and don't have. And somebody who's been where you are and is now where you'd like to be. Also, you'd want to follow somebody who has demonstrated that they have the ability of helping people like you get to where you want to go. And in addition to the idea that sales is leadership, you have to recognize if you're a consultant, you're a coach, some kind of expert, consulting is leadership. Sales is leadership. Turning your expertise into a thriving, profitable business requires you to lead, because there is a rough terrain in between where your ideal client is today and where they want to be. And for you to create a consistent flow of ideal clients, you need to be the one who can lead them across the terrain. Again, sales is leadership, and you've got to be the leader they want to follow, and then you'll be the consultant, the coach, the expert that they want to hire. And that's what we're going to be talking about for the majority, the rest of today's episode, number 2, sales leadership. Quick request before we dive straight into the meat and potatoes. If you've benefited from my work in any way, then you know this is quality material. Help us reach more people. If you're watching this on Facebook, I believe dovgordon.net/live show, dovgordon.net/live show, I believe will take you that will take you straight to the live stream. So if you're not watching on Facebook, you want to open that up, it'll take you straight to the live stream, and then you can share, click the share button, share it on your page, share it in a group that you belong to, leave a comment, like it. Underneath, you can ask questions, and we'll get to that at the end of this, the main segment. So I appreciate that. Thanks for helping this get to more people. All right, let's dive in. So we're talking again today about sales is leadership, focused primarily but not exclusively on consultants, coaches, and experts. And if you are watching this show, then I have to assume that you have some kind of inner knowing, right? By popular demand, we've got our sticky note slides today. So you have some kind of inner knowing that you're in this world for a reason, right? There's some valuable skill that you have, some ability, some contribution that you'd like to make. And I'm also going to assume that if you're watching this, in some way, you're frustrated because you're not progressing as you would like to. You're not earning as much as you feel you should be. You're probably not getting the results that you'd like to. That's the outcome. But it's also more than that. It's also more than that. It's also about your input. It's about your activity, about the things that you're doing. I would guess that if you're here, you're probably also not doing consistently the activities, the input, the things that you should be doing to the level or the frequency or the consistency that you feel you should be doing them. If you were to step back and imagine yourself, kind of just stop and really relax and think and picture and imagine yourself performing at your peak, working at your best. You'd probably see yourself sitting down at the office or wherever you like to work, coffee shop, wherever, working on one thing, getting it done, working on the next thing, getting it done. You'd see yourself focused. You'd see yourself disciplined, clear, calm, confident. And that's all about the inputs. And you probably would imagine that by the very fact that you work that way, you then begin to enjoy the outputs, the results. Financially, you start to do really well. You've got your time becomes your own if you do it right. And you're able to take some trips overseas, travel to family, help out family members. I've heard that from many people. That's one of the reasons a lot of people want to earn more money so they can help out family members. I've heard it many times. But it's even the freedom to take half a day off and just go kick your feet up on the beach and read something if that's what you want to do. These are the outcomes. And I'm assuming that you're probably bothered both by you don't quite have the results you want, as well as you're also not performing at the level that you know you should be. So why is that not the reality that you have on a day-to-day basis? And I'm going to suggest it's because in addition to your inner knowing, you also have a mad mess of inner conflict, right? The inner knowing isn't in there all on its own. There's also this mad mess of inner conflict. And these inner conflicts, they occupy your mind and your emotions every day. For many people, most of the day. For some people, day and night. What do we mean by inner conflicts? Let's look at a few very common examples. You start to wonder, you worry, you wonder, okay, I've got this skill, that skill. Should I sell this service or that service? Should I target these types of clients or those kinds of clients? Should I use this message or that message? What strategy should I use? This one or that one? What kind of tactics should I use? Another type of inner conflict is, you're torn. You know that you're here to contribute in some way. On the other hand, that's your ability to give to others. On the other hand, you've got this fear. The conflict comes because you also have this fear for your own security, your own financial security, perhaps. People are afraid of, well, what if I run out of money? Your emotional security. What will people think of me, if I say this? Who will think that? They'll misunderstand, misinterpret, misconstrue, right? We have another inner conflict. Sometimes I just want to be free to be myself. But then also, what will people think of me? There's that concern of, I have to hide and cover up and put on this mask. We have this inner conflict, this mad mess of an inner conflict. We have inner conflicts between what your gut tells you to do and what your brain tells you to do. Your gut says, do this. And I tend to believe that your gut has a lot of wisdom. But your brain chimes in and tells you all the things that can go wrong if you do this, all the things to be afraid of, all the fears, all the worries. And so you've got the tension. Should I listen to my brain or should I listen to my gut, right? What should I do? Who should we listen to? Just making sure that, okay. Just recently, we've been working with a client who he's doing okay. He's doing pretty well. He has clients and he's in that trap where you're doing well, pretty well, but you're working with a client that you don't really like on the kinds of projects you don't really like. And you're torn. You've got the inner conflict because on the one hand, you're capable of much more. You want more freedom. You should be earning more. You want to be doing the kind of things you really want to be doing. On the other hand, there's this fear of leaving something good because who knows what will happen? Who knows what will replace him? And what this client did, because we really helped him figure this out, was he had those difficult conversations several times over the last few months. And each time he came back to us and he says, you know what, I can't believe this is what happened. And it was all in my head. All the problems, all the worries was all in my head, just like previous times. But still, we fall back into that fear. But the more you do it, the stronger you get. So if you didn't have these inner conflicts, you'd accomplish more in 3 months than you probably accomplished in the last 2 to 3 years. And I know this because we see it in our Plenty of Clients 100-day sprint, clients all the time, right? By helping you remove the inner conflict, you are free to perform, to do the work at your peak, to work at your best. And then you sit down and you could focus on one key task at a time. And in 3 months, you'll have achieved more than in the past 2 to 3 years, certainly in this area of the business. Now, it's critical that you break through your own inner conflicts and allow your inner knowing to be your guide, because there's one foolproof way to get a consistent flow of ideal clients. And that is, you need to be the one that they want to follow, right? You have got to be the one that they want to follow. As we've said, sales is leadership. And to lead, you have to earn the right to lead. You have got to earn the right to lead. And the way you earn the right to lead is by breaking through your own inner conflicts and becoming the person that your ideal clients want to be following. That means you need to grow personally, and then your business will grow. A lot of people, I'll grow personally after my business grows. It doesn't work that way. And you need to be growing on all levels of the master model that we talked about in episode number 1. This is, I'm not going to go through it all right now, but episode number 1, which you can find in our Facebook page, it'll be on our YouTube channel soon as well. And if you can't find it, just email dovgordon@dovgordon.net. We'll get you a link. All right. You've got to be growing when it comes to having clear goals and going after what you want, understanding the rules of the game, a clear, simple process, tools and skills, mental toughness, right? Sales is not about getting somebody to buy something that they don't want to buy, right? This is, this is why we say sales is leadership. And I know we can talk about this for, literally for weeks. We can unpack this for weeks and focus on all the different aspects of this, okay? But I want to focus on a couple of aspects today that I don't think are talked about very much. And here's another way of thinking about sales as leadership. Leadership is helping your ideal clients see their situation more clearly. It's helping your clients resolve their inner conflicts about where they are, where they're going, so that they could work and focus on just what they're best at, perform at their peak, and whatever it is. This is what your job is, okay? That's what leadership is. It's helping them see their situation more clearly. And if you're going to be the one who helps them follow the wisdom of their gut rather than the fear of their brain, if you're going to be the one who helps them follow that inner knowing, even if the path isn't so clear, if you've become that leader, then you'll be the one that they want to pay. And those are, money, right? They're following you. You've earned it. And now they want to follow you, and you're the one they want to pay. So in order to be that leader, I think that you need to earn it on 2 levels. You earn it on 2 levels. Number 1, you have got to master your craft. You've got to master your craft. You need to be good at what you do. This enables you to really help them. You've got to be skilled. And that doesn't mean if you're starting out, right? Some people are getting started. There is something that you're already good at in most cases, okay? You've got to be good at it. You got to master your craft. And obviously, I think that's the part that most people kind of understand. They assume that, they see that. However, there's also, I'm just a side point, because I want to help people realize this. There are a lot of times that you think you need to master everything. If you're going to help people with this type of management consulting, you've got to be able to do everything. It's not true. You've got to find one problem that you can help solve, one result that you can enable, and master that, and then you're in business. Okay, so you got to make sure you don't get paralyzed on this. On the other hand, you got to make sure that you are skilled. The next thing is that you need to master yourself, and you do that by working on your own mental toughness. You do that by making sure you're going after what you really want, not settling for what you think you can have. Again, sales is leadership, and that means that you need to go first. Okay, I remember talking to a coach who reached out to me a couple of years ago. He was some kind of business coach. And so I asked him what he wants, and he told me he wants to be working with clients and that he wants them to be paying him $1,000 a month, a year at a time, and that was the fee he wanted. But when it came time for him to invest in himself, he told himself a story, and he told me the same story. And the story is, I can't afford it. I know I need it. I know you can help me. I just can't afford it. And I pointed out to him that's okay. It's totally okay if you say that, if you believe that. That's what your clients are going to tell you. Your clients are going to tell you, I can't afford it. But because you haven't crossed that chasm yourself, when you hear that, what you're going to think is, yeah, I know. I don't know how I'm going to make the payments this month myself. I don't know. Sales is leadership, and you have to lead first. You lead first by earning the right. You got to earn the right. Now, again, this is a huge topic. It's a huge topic, but today we're highlighting an aspect of this that I don't hear people talking about. So I want to end this with, and we'll take some questions, of course. I want to end this with two things for you to do, okay? 2 action steps to really drive this home and make this practically valuable for you going forward. All right, number 1, get some clear goals. Yeah, we can just hold it like that. All right, get some clear goals. What do you want? Write it down. And then look at what you've written down and ask yourself, did I write down what I really want, or did I write down what I think I can have? In most cases, you're writing down not what you really want, but what you think you can have. You'd think that the easiest question for us human beings to answer would be, what do you want? Turns out it's one of the hardest. Very few people are clear about what they want. And so many of us who think we know what we want, we're fooling ourselves. We've got to stop and recheck and reevaluate. Because if you're not really going after something passionately, there's a really good chance that you're not clear about what you want. There are other factors as well. So anyway, next step for today is, what do you want? And make sure it's what you really want, not what you think you can have. Number 2, why don't you think you can have it? What do you want? That's your inner knowing speaking. That's the inner knowing, right? That's listening to the inner knowing. Second question is, why don't you think you can have it? And that's where you start to hear that mad mess of inner conflicts. That's where you start to become aware of all these stories you tell yourself that keep you from sitting down and performing at your peak. So after this, sit down and spend a few minutes writing, what do I want? And when you're sure you got that as clear as you can for today, don't worry about perfection, just do your best for today. Sit down and ask yourself, okay, why don't I think I can have it? In order to create a consistent flow of your ideal clients, you've got to listen to your inner knowing long enough that you're clear about what you want. You've got the inner conflict, clear what you want. And in order to break through, you're going to have to do something that scares you. You know it from your own experience. We all know it, even though if we try to avoid it every time we come up against the opportunity to grow. It's going to scare you. But that's the only way of breaking through this mess and having the freedom to move forward without the burden of the inner conflicts. So again, write out what do you want, write out why do you think you can't have it. That helps you understand both what you know and your inner conflict. And your challenge is now, okay, what's the next small step that I need to do that I'm scared to do? Now, for some of you right now, you'll have an inner knowing that my team and I could probably help you create a consistent flow of your ideal clients. And if your gut is saying, hey, this guy could probably help me, then listen to it and go to dovgordon.net/chat, where you can request a short 15, 20 minute or so conversation with us. And that's an opportunity for us to begin to get to know each other and to see if you're somebody that we really feel that we can help, and vice versa. Okay, so if your gut says, hey, I like this is different from what I'm usually hearing, then go request a chat. Okay, now for some people, taking this step is easy. It's clear, inner knowing, there's no conflict. For other people, the inner conflict steps in. Oh, I don't know how much it's gonna cost, or I was in some other program and it didn't work, I was disappointed. That's your brain just trying to override the wisdom of your gut. Right? If that's what, for those of you who that's what your gut is saying. So this is your first opportunity in that case to listen to that inner knowing and do something that scares you. And by doing that, you break through your inner conflict and you begin to earn the right to lead. And that's today's topic, where we talked about sales is leadership. You got to lead, go first, and then you'll have plenty of people who want to line up behind to pay you. Okay, I'm going to see if we have any questions. If you have any questions, there is a, if you're on the Zoom, then you could raise your hand. There's some way to raise your hand if you want to talk to me. Those who are more shy, you can certainly type in the chat box, or there's a Q&A box. And I'm also going to look at the Facebook page and see if there, if you want to leave a question in the comment section there, we can do that as well. Again, if you like this, if you found it helpful or valuable, please share it. Appreciate it. Thank you, Lance, for sharing this. I appreciate that, Lance. And if any other comments, if not, then we will call it a day. This is something new. I'm planning to do this again next Thursday. Probably gonna do 4, maybe 6 of these, take a break, and probably come back. So Alicia asks, what do you mean by mental toughness? That's a really great question. So when I talk about mental toughness, to me, it means the discipline or the toughness to keep your mind focused on the reality, on the right thoughts, where it should be. If you keep your mind focused on the truth, on the reality, for example, right? There's this prospect who seems like the perfect prospect for you. Everything seems great. And they're supposed to get back to you, send you an email on a certain day by a certain time, and they don't, right? So what happens? The typical reaction is panic. Oh no, I didn't get that email, and this is, you know, and oh, that means all the things that we worry that it may happen, that it might mean. Mental toughness means you've got the discipline of learning to keep your mind focused on the reality, on the truth. The reality is the only thing that happened is you didn't get the email back. You have no idea why. They may have even sent it and maybe it ended up somewhere else. It got lost perhaps, or maybe it's in their draft box and they thought they sent it. You have no idea. Mental toughness means you focus on the truth. You focus on the reality and you don't add meaning, because if you can focus on the reality and not tell yourself all sorts of stories about things that suck up your energy or lower your energy, then it's a lot easier for you to sit down and do what you need to do to get the results that you want to get. Hope that was helpful. Bruce says, thank you. Excellent, Bruce. Let me see here. If there are no more questions, Shelly on Facebook says, thank you. All right, thank you, Shelly. And if there are no more questions, we will call this a day. You can continue to, of course, ask questions in the comments on Facebook, and we will continue to answer. Thank you for joining me. And keep your eye open for the next sessions as well. Thank you. Hey, Susan, good to see you.